I was standing at my parents' front door on Thanksgiving when I heard my brother's voice through the screen. Wonder if Jamie will actually show up this year. My sister laughed. Probably can't afford the gas. I stood there, hand on the doorknob, frozen. Through the mesh, I could see them in the living room. My whole family, gathered around the fireplace. Wine glasses, laughter, that warm holiday glow. And they were talking about me like I wasn't about to walk in, like I was a charity case, a failure, someone to pity. What they didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I'd stopped needing their belief a long time ago. And after tonight, they'd never get the chance to believe in me again. Growing up in Springfield, Illinois, I was always the different one. My older brother, Marcus, doctor, married with twins, house in the suburbs with the white fence and the golden retriever. My sister, Natalie, lawyer, partnership track at a downtown firm, engaged to a guy who drives a Mercedes. And then there was me, Jamie, the one who couldn't figure it out. I dropped out of college my sophomore year, couldn't sit through another lecture on business theory when all I wanted to do was make things. So I started small, graphic design gigs on Fiverr, logo work, website mock-ups, $5 here, $20 there. My family didn't get it. When are you going to get a real job? Dad would ask at every dinner. You're wasting your potential, Mom would say, voice soft but disappointed. Marcus would offer to put in a word at the hospital for an admin position, filing papers. Natalie would send me job postings, entry level, $35K a year. They meant well, I think, but every offer felt like a message. You're not good enough doing what you're doing. So I stopped telling them about my work, stopped sharing wins, stopped defending my choices. I just existed on the edges of family gatherings, the one they worried about, the one they didn't quite understand. It started getting worse about a year ago. I'd been working on something big, a branding project for a tech startup in Chicago. They loved my work, wanted me full-time as their creative director. I said yes, but I didn't tell anyone because I knew what would happen. The questions, the concerns, the "are you sure that's stable?" and "what about benefits?" So when Mom asked how work was going, I just said, "Good, staying busy." At Marcus's birthday dinner last spring, Natalie brought it up in front of everyone. "Jamie, you're 29. Have you thought about, I don't know, a career path? Something with growth potential?" I set down my fork. "I'm doing fine." "We're not saying you're not." Dad jumped in. "Too fast. We just want you to have security." "I have security." "Do you?" Marcus leaned back, wine glass in hand, playing the concerned older brother. "Because from where we're sitting, you're still doing freelance stuff. No benefits, no 401k, no real plan." I could feel everyone's eyes on me. That familiar weight. Pity mixed with concern, mixed with judgment. "I have a plan," I said quietly. "Then what is it?" Natalie asked, like she was cross-examining a witness. I didn't answer, because the truth was, my plan was already in motion, and it was bigger than any of them could imagine. 2 months ago, I overheard a conversation I wasn't supposed to hear. I'd driven to my parents' house to drop off some documents they needed. It was early evening in September, still warm. The windows were open. I was walking up the driveway when I heard my name. I stopped. "I'm worried about Jamie." Mom's voice coming from the kitchen window. "We all are." That was Dad. "It's been almost 10 years since college," Natalie said. "At some point, we have to accept that maybe Jamie's just not cut out for traditional success." My hand froze on the car door handle. "That's harsh," Marcus said, but he didn't disagree. "I'm not trying to be mean," Natalie continued. "I'm being realistic. We've all tried to help. Job offers, networking, advice, and every time it's like, Jamie's in this bubble, refusing to see reality. Some people are late bloomers," Mom offered weakly. "Mom," Natalie's voice got soft. "Sad. Jamie's not a late bloomer. Jamie's stuck, and I don't know if we can keep pretending otherwise." There was a long silence. Then Dad spoke. "I think we need to accept that Jamie might always need our help, financially, practically, and that's okay. We're family. We'll figure it out." They were planning my failure, budgeting for it, accepting it as fact. I stood there in the driveway, documents still in my hand, and something inside me just went cold, not angry, cold, because I realized in that moment they'd already given up on me, and nothing I said would change their minds. I got back in my car, drove away, never dropped off those documents. The next few weeks were hard. I kept replaying that conversation in my head. Jamie's just not cut out for traditional success. Might always need our help. We need to accept. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. with those words echoing. Was I fooling myself? Was this creative director job just another dead end? Was I the failure they thought I was? I'd sit in my small apartment in downtown Springfield. 1 bedroom, creaky floors, a window that overlooked a parking lot, and wonder if they were right. Maybe I should have taken Marcus's admin job offer. Maybe I should have finished my degree. Maybe. But then I'd open my laptop, look at my work, the campaigns I'd designed, the brands I'd built from nothing. The startup in Chicago, they'd just closed a Series A funding round, $8 million, and my equity package as creative director, that put me at just under $500,000 invested stock, plus my salary, 6 figures now. I'd made more this year than Marcus and Natalie combined, but they didn't know that because I'd stopped telling them. And sitting there in the dark at 3 a.m., I made a decision. I wasn't going to tell them, not with words. I was going to show them, and then I was going to walk away. Thanksgiving invite came in mid-October. Mom's annual text, Thanksgiving at our place, 3 p.m., bring whatever you can. That last part. Whatever you can? Like she assumed I couldn't afford to bring much. I stared at that text for a long time, and then I started planning. I called my financial advisor. I want to liquidate some assets. How much? Enough to make a point. She was quiet. Jamie, are you sure? I'm sure. I called a luxury car rental service. Reserved a Tesla Model S midnight blue. I called a tailor. Custom suit. Nothing flashy. Just expensive. The kind of expensive that people who know. And then I called my company's CEO. That promotion you mentioned, creative VP. Is it still on the table? Absolutely. We've been waiting for you to say yes. I'm saying yes. Fantastic. We'll announce it Monday. Also, Jamie, the board wants to talk to you about equity expansion. If we go public next year, you're looking at, well, life-changing numbers. I sat in my apartment after that call, looked around at my cheap furniture, my cracked phone screen, my whole carefully maintained illusion of struggle. And I thought, I've been hiding, not because I was ashamed of my success, but because I was protecting myself from their disbelief. I was done protecting myself. Thanksgiving Day. I pulled up to my parents' house in the Tesla at 2:55 p.m. Through the window, I could see everyone already there. Marcus's SUV, Natalie's BMW, Dad's old pickup. I sat in the car for a moment, straightened my tie, custom suit, tailored perfectly. In the passenger seat, a bottle of wine, $400. Not because I wanted to show off, but because I wanted them to notice. I walked to the door, knocked. Mom answered. Her smile was already in place, that sympathetic, slightly worried smile she always had for me. Then she saw the suit. Her smile faltered. Jamie, wow, you look different, I finished. I was going to say nice. She stepped back. Come in, come in. I walked into the living room. Marcus was by the fireplace, Natalie on the couch, Dad in his recliner. They all looked up, and I watched their faces change. Confusion, surprise, something else I couldn't quite name. Hey, I said. Whoa! Marcus stood up. Jamie, is that an Armani? Tom Ford, I said casually. Handed the wine to Mom. This is for dinner. She looked at the label, blinked. Jamie, yeah, I know. Natalie was staring. What's going on? What do you mean? The suit, the car outside. That's a Tesla, right? Yeah. Did you rent it? I almost smiled. Almost. No? Silence. Dad was the one who finally asked. Jamie, what's happening? Did you come into some money or something? I sat down, took a breath, and then I told them. 3 years ago, I joined a startup as their creative director. I took equity instead of a higher salary. That startup just got acquired, and my equity package, combined with my salary over the past 3 years. Well, I'm doing fine. Fine? Marcus's voice cracked a little. More than fine. I'm a VP now, creative vice president. And if the company goes public next year like they're planning, I paused. Let's just say I won't have to worry about money. Ever. The room was so quiet, I could hear the kitchen timer ticking. Why didn't you tell us? Mom's voice was small. I did. Every time you asked how work was, I said good. I said I was busy. I said I had a plan. But you never believed me. It came out sharper than I intended. But it was true. Every time I tried to share something about my work, you changed the subject, or offered me a real job, or sent me entry-level postings like I was failing. Natalie's face had gone pale. We were trying to help. No, you were trying to fix me because you'd already decided I was broken. That's not fair, Marcus said. Isn't it? I looked at him. You offered me an admin job, filing papers, while I was building brands that would go on to be worth millions. We didn't know. Because you didn't ask. I stood up. You didn't ask what I was working on, what my goals were, what I'd accomplished. You just looked at my apartment and my old car and my lack of a degree, and you decided I was failing. Mom was crying now, quiet tears. I heard you, I said softly. 2 months ago, I came to drop off documents and I heard you in the kitchen, talking about me, about how I'm not cut out for traditional success, about how you need to budget to help me long term. Dad's face crumbled. Jamie, it's okay. And weirdly, I meant it. I don't need your help. I never did. I just needed you to believe I could do it. And you couldn't. I walked to the door. Where are you going? Mom asked. I have another dinner. Friends in Chicago? I paused. People who believed in me when I was sleeping on an air mattress and eating ramen. People who saw what I was building instead of what I didn't have. Jamie, please. Natalie stood up. Don't leave like this. I looked at her. At all of them. I love you, I do. But I can't keep trying to prove myself to people who've already decided who I am. I opened the door. Congratulations, by the way, I said. You were right. I'm not cut out for traditional success. I built something better. And I left. I spent Thanksgiving with my team in Chicago, 5 of us, gathered in our CEO's apartment. Wine, laughter, terrible cooking that we were all too drunk to care about. People who'd seen me at my worst and still bet on me. People who celebrated my wins instead of questioning them. Yeah, my phone buzzed all night. Texts from Mom, Natalie, Marcus, Dad. I didn't read them, not yet. 3 days later, I finally opened them. Apologies, explanations. We didn't mean, and we're so proud. And can we talk? I wrote back to Mom. I know you meant well, but I need time. I need to figure out who I am with people who see me clearly, not through the lens of who you thought I should be. She replied immediately. I understand. I love you. We'll be here when you're ready. That was 2 weeks ago. I'm still figuring out if I'll ever be ready. Because here's the thing nobody tells you about proving people wrong. It doesn't feel the way you think it will. There's no triumphant music, no moment of pure victory. There's just the quiet realization that you did it without them. And now that they finally believe, you don't need them to. That's the real twist. I didn't spend all those years building something to prove them wrong. I built it because I believed in me. And somewhere along the way, their disbelief stopped mattering. By the time they were ready to see me, I'd already moved on. So here's my question for you. If your family spent years doubting you, and you finally proved them wrong, would you let them back in? Or would you realize that the people who believe in you from the start are the only ones who deserve to celebrate with you at the end? I'm still figuring out my answer. But I know this. They never believed in me. And now? Now they never will. Not because they can't, but because I've stopped needing them to.